And the Padres are opening a homestand after grinding through a 10-game roadie in heat and humidity, only 4 games behind the first-place Dodgers.
Amazing.
It's absolutely amazing, considering the Padres, for the most part, have hardly hit. And the Padres got a beat-up pitching staff. The bullpen has saved their bacon during the course of the season. But now we're marching towards Thursday's 3 p.m. West Coast trade deadline and the burning question, what is A.J. Preller going to do? From my sources around Major League Baseball, this is what I've been able to dig up. The Padres tried really hard on the weekend to execute a trade with the Red Sox to get Jarren Duran. It was rejected emphatically. I was told the names involved Dylan Cease, the young catcher Ethan Salas, and a top AA pitching prospect. Red Sox said no. They don't want to rent Cease, who is really staggering through a bad season. They wanted Robert Suarez and Ethan Salas to be the cornerstones of the Duran trade, but the Padres were not willing to change the names in the deal, so that trade conversation stalled. They are talking to the Cubs at this hour, the Yankees at this hour, the Mets at this hour, about a couple of month rental for Dylan Cease. They would want, obviously, young prospect. Cease has got $14 million on his contract. He's a walk-free agent. There's about $6 million left on the contract. Somebody would have to accept that deal. The new name that they're talking to in terms of finding an outfield bat, Ramon Laureano, ex-Oakland A, Baltimore Oriole. Not hitting for average, but he's got some pop. They have had conversations with them sometime starting on Friday. Somehow, some way, people are of the opinion they're in the mix on Luis Robert of the White Sox. I just don't see that being doable unless A.J. Preller asked the White Sox to pay some of the salary each of the next 2 years. Robert's got 2 options, $20 million each of the next 2 seasons. Padres can't take that contract on unless
club options.
Yes.
Yeah. So if he doesn't pan out, they can just let him ride.
But why would you trade a whole bunch? No, it's player options. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Player option. Why would you trade a whole bunch if you're only going to have them for 2 months? You're not going to do that. But the problem is they can't take on $20 million per year each of the next 2 seasons. They might want the White Sox to take on some of that $20 million. I don't think the Sox are interested in doing that. So that's where the Padres are. There's probably other names that are going to surface between now and Thursday at 3 p.m. They're trying really hard to add a bat. Just a couple of other tidbits. They're pushing Yu Darvish back in the rotation. They don't think he's had setbacks with the elbow, but John, he's given up 17 runs in the last 16 innings. So that's a struggle. Michael King throwing a simulated game up and down to batters for the first time, Petco Park. But this is going to be a long process. We'll just have to see how the shoulder feels the day after he throws, the second day after he throws, and how quickly then schedule another simulated game. Manny Machado. Man, is he hotter than the weather in St. Louis. 13 for his last 21. Now the Padres are home. They get the New York Mets in town. The Mets coming in with a 7-game win string. And despite the mess of injuries to their pitching staff, collectively, they got a bunch of guys outside of Juan Soto. They're hitting the baseball. So now the burning question for Padre fan, you're going to Petco Park. Are you going to boo Juan Soto, Mr. Me, Myself, and I? Or you say, hey, we made the trade. He came in. He didn't really make a big difference for us, but we used some of the bargaining chips to go get pitching that has helped us be better, and then we traded him away again. Your reaction to everything. Where do you want the Padres to go from a trade standpoint? Your reaction to what's happened with this pitching staff, and your reaction to Mr. Me, Myself, and I.
Well, just the Mets rolling into town and just don't bring Bartolo Colon and we'll be all right. So, I mean, you talk about the trade possibilities and yeah, Preller is backed into a corner. His options are limited. It's interesting you kind of wonder how much value does Cease really have for a team like the Red Sox that are trying to make a run because it's only, he's only going to get him for a couple of months.
Yeah,
right?
And his mechanics are just not where they need to be. He's not the dominant guy he was for a large chunk of last season, and he's just so out of sync. His ERA is what, 4.59.
It seems like in a given start, he'll be like dominant for,
Sure.
2/3 of the innings that he throws. And then the other times he'll get a little squirrely. It's weird. But remember, it was the pitching coach had straightened him out. And now I guess he's fallen back into some of his old habits.
Yeah, he's throwing hard. His strikeout walk ratio is pretty decent, but he keeps having bad innings and then he gets lit.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. So, I mean, and it's interesting also that the catcher, Salas, was part of the conversation because for so long we thought they were untouchable. But the Padres need to find a way to trade one guy and get three guys. Even if they're prospects, they're going to have to find a way to parlay this, because if they're going to give away, I mean, like in this case, Cease, you're not going to get a whole lot back if it's only like for 2 months. So I don't know what they're going to do, but thank God they salvaged that road trip.
Well, when they drafted 2 catchers a week ago and they signed both the catchers to over the recommended slot, that led me to believe, okay, they've changed their mind on Ethan Salas.
Yeah.
And the fact that Salas can't play this season because the stress fracture in the back has been slow healing since April means that maybe they just don't hold him as in high regard, or maybe they say, okay, we'll find another catcher. We'll find somebody that is really intrigued in Ethan Salas. So what are you doing sitting behind the third base dugout tonight? Are you going to boo Soto or not?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You just got to give him hell. I mean, the whole thing, because he was kind of, like a negative energy in the clubhouse, and in the dugout. So, yeah, you got to give him the business. He deserves it.
Okay, that's all things Padres. Topic 1, fans forum chat box is open. No excuse for you not to have an opinion on some of the things we've talked about.